Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here, and welcome back to another live stream. Super excited for this one. Slightly different time of day, so you'll have to bear with me. Like I said in the videos earlier on in the week, I am slightly busy this afternoon/evening, so thought we'd do a midday stream for those of you that are in the UK. For those of you that aren't in the UK, it might actually work better for some of you. So I know there are people all across the world that sometimes can't watch the streams when they're in the evenings or sometimes when they're in the mornings on a Saturday. So maybe this sort of midday time will actually work well for you. So as always, make sure to say hello in the chat. I'll get round to saying hello to you. I can already see there are loads of people in the chat. I appreciate you all being here despite the slightly different time. So there's a lot of members in the chat as always. Richard, Andre, nice to see you boys. King Sight, good morning, mate. Marcelo, Mr. Max, good to see you. Darshil, Lawrence, good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon, I should say now. It's 12:03 here in the UK. Donny FPL, hello all, especially those on the free hit. I am on the free hit, so you'll be able to see my free hit draft in a second. If you're not on your free hit, don't panic. I think a lot of those that we own on free hit are going to be fairly lowly owned anyway. So I don't think you're going to lose too much ground by not free hitting, but there is definitely ground to be gained, I think. Good afternoon, Ross and Raptoids. Oh, I quite like that, Raptoids. Might have to steal that. Max says, Ross, thanks for continuing to support us with great content. I'm at work watching this stream. Not supposed to be, but for this channel, it's worth the risk. All right, just don't get in trouble, Max. If you are watching me at work, I appreciate that. Hopefully some of you can maybe take a lunch break around now, or if, like I said, if you're in a different country, then it might work well for you. Good afternoon, Mike. Good afternoon, Luke. Good afternoon, Aditya. Hit the like while people are waiting, for sure. If you're in the stream today and you're excited for today's stream, make sure to drop a like on it. We are going to get going very soon. I'd just like to say hello to everyone before we get going. Love from India, buddy. Love to you in India as well. I really do want to visit India. I've got lots of like FPL friends from India. It tends to be that a lot of the top managers are from India, so I'd definitely like to go out and visit at some time. Afternoon, Ross. Afternoon, Eddie. How are you, my man? Morning, morning. James Twiddy in the chat. Got an incredible rank, Mr. James. Indian football coach. Great YouTube channel, Ross. You well? I'm all good, thank you, mate. I'm very excited for Game Week 27. Game Week 26 actually went well for me despite taking that monster hit. So I'm actually pretty buzzing with the way FPL is going at the moment. Obviously not a fantastic rank, but I think I'm in a good position with basically all of my chips left. I've got wildcard. I've got 2 free hits. Obviously, I'm using one this week, and I've still got my bench boost as well. Bradley in the chat. James. FPL Acumen. Hi, Raptor. Hi, mate. Right, I could say good morning to you all for the next sort of 2 hours, but we should crack on with today's stream. Of course, as you guys know, we are sponsored by SPITCH for the live stream, so I'm just going to quickly just give a massive shout out to SPITCH and just let you know what SPITCH is and why I think it's definitely a game worth playing. So what SPITCH is it's basically fantasy football, but it's weekly competitions rather than building a team across a season. So essentially what you can do with SPITCH, if you're not playing your free hit this week and you want to play a free hit, you can essentially do so with SPITCH. So SPITCH allows you to create different teams each week for weekly competitions. They're completely free to enter, lots of them. You can do it in the Bundesliga, you can do it in the Premier League as well, but there are also paid competitions. So because there is the opportunity to do paid competitions, it is of course 18 plus. Please be gamble aware. But for me, I'm just entering the free ones, and I think it's really fun as well. There are some free ones that do give paid out prizes as well, but it's just an opportunity to pick some slightly different players. You can see on the screen, I've got Walker Peters, I've got Cresswell in there. I'm just picking players that I wouldn't necessarily pick in FPL, and it's just quite fun. And the thing I love about SPITCH, as I've said in the previous live streams, is that it's fantastic for the scoring. So the scoring in FPL is they get points for assists, points for goals. It's very sort of straightforward. Whereas for SPITCH, they get points for interceptions, key passes, tackles. So there's lots of different things based on like Opta statistics that they get points for. So someone like Ward-Prowse, even if he doesn't pick up a goal or an assist, he's fantastic in SPITCH. So I've been really enjoying SPITCH. I've been playing every week. You can build communities in there as well, which is basically like forms of leagues where you can compete against your friends. It is only available in the UK and Germany at the moment, but if you are in those countries, obviously get involved. The link is in the description, so click the link in the description. Enter the free competitions for sure. If you just want to get a taster for it, enter the free competitions first, and then obviously if you want to, and you feel like your personality can stand that without becoming addicted, etc., then do have a go at the paid for versions. But for me, like I said, I'm just playing the free versions. But it's a fantastic app. It's very, very slick, and they are going to expand, I think, in the future away from the UK and Germany into other countries as well, and there'll be different leagues too. So massive shout out to SPITCH. Thank you for continuing to sponsor the live streams. I really do appreciate it. But without further ado, let's take a look at my current free hit draft for Game Week 27. So this is where I'm currently stood for Game Week 27. I have made a few changes since my free hit team selection video released a couple of days ago. I'm fairly happy with it. The big changes that I've made since that video, if you did watch that video, I've brought in Bednarek for Dallo. I've brought in me for Roberts, just because I think he's slightly more nailed to start both games. And then I've brought in Sancho and Sterling for Bruno and Foden. So I know a lot of you on your free hit are facing that same dilemma, and I'm sure I'll get that question over and over again today. Bruno and Foden are exactly the same price as Sterling and Sancho. So lots of people are trying to make that decision. Do I go for Sterling and Sancho, or do I go for Bruno and Foden? Some people might have like a combination of those two. But for me, I just think it's a little bit more exciting. I think the upside is there. I'm currently favouring Sancho and Sterling. So that's my current free hit team. You can see it on the screen. Just with respect to how Game Week 26 went for me, I know a couple of people on YouTube were asking for an update. So I did take a minus 20 hit. I actually ended on 145 points minus 20. So I ended on a net 125 points, which was actually about a 4 or 5k red arrow, I think it was in the end. 6k red arrow. I think I went from 38k to 44k. So essentially on a minus 20, I'm on a 6k red arrow, which is absolutely fine. And I'm perfectly set up for future weeks now. I've got 5 or 6 doublers in 28. I've got 7 doublers in 29. And then I've got 8 or 9 players playing in blank Game Week 30. So the team is looking really good after that minus 20. Obviously going to free hit in Game Week 27. And then I'll show you what my team looks like from 28 onwards. But I'm very happy. And I guess what it does show is that hits do work in the correct weeks when you time them well. And that's what I was trying to get forward on Twitter, and it maybe wasn't coming across that I'm not a reckless manager. I wasn't taking hits to try and just attack Game Week 26. I wasn't getting overly excited and trying to have fun with it necessarily. It was actually quite a rational, analytical minus 20, and I think it makes sense over the coming game weeks. So I'm very happy that I took that hit, but that's the way the team currently is looking for Game Week 27. Do let me know in the chat what you think of that team. I know a lot of people want Fernandes in there. If I want Fernandes, I have to take out Sterling, and I don't want to do that. I know I could probably get Fernandes and Sterling if I take out Ward-Prowse, downgrade Ward-Prowse to like a Gilmore, and then play Broja. But I've just got a feeling I quite like Ward-Prowse, and I will explain a bit later why I like Ward-Prowse so much. But for me, I quite fancy him ahead of Broja. And then I've got Broja first sub if Sterling or Mahrez miss out. So I'll get around to answering some questions in the chat then, whilst you can look at my free hit team, ask all the questions you want in the chat, and I'll try and get around to answering as many of them as possible. What about Captain Me? I don't mind captaining me if you don't own Weghorst. But for me, I don't know. I think Weghorst is the best captaincy option. And I think if you're not going to captain Weghorst, I think someone like a Son, Kane, Mahrez or Sterling might be the better option for me. I just don't think it's the best double from a defensive perspective. I know I say that having 2 defenders, but Crystal Palace, if they turn up, are a fantastic attacking outfit. Obviously, sometimes they don't. And Leicester, despite their defensive frailties, they've actually been very good going forward. So I think you're probably looking at about a sort of 7 or 8 pointer for me there is the ideal in this situation. Whereas I think for Weghorst, gets a goal or 2, goal or an assist, you could be looking at sort of, as we saw, 12, 13 points across a double game week. So I think I would prefer Weghorst. And then outside of that, I think Tottenham will do very well against Leeds. So I think I'd prefer like a Son or a Kane ahead of Ben Mee. But I don't mind captaining Ben Mee at all. Fernandes and Elise or Cornet to Son and JWP. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't take out Fernandes and Cornet. I mean, I know Cornet might not play both, and Fernandes, Watford have been good defensively, but I wouldn't take both of those out from -4. Or Bowen and Elise/Cornet to Mahrez and JWP. I prefer the second one slightly, Kazmi. I prefer the Mahrez and JWP move. My team is exactly the same minus Bednarek, and I didn't watch your free hit video. Nice. Yeah, to be honest, mate, there's not a limited pool to choose from, because I did discuss this in the free hit, but we've all got the same information available to us. We've all got the same fixtures in front of us. And yes, I do think there's a little bit of sort of groupthink and herd mentality a little bit on Twitter, but I don't think it's a coincidence that we all want triple Burnley. We all want double Spurs attack. We all want 1 Manchester United attacker. We all want a couple of Southampton players. Yes, like I said, there is a little bit of like majority influence, but I wouldn't necessarily worry too much about having it bit template. Johan says, thoughts on Roberts as your defender from Burnley, or do you go for Ben Mee? So I've actually taken out Roberts because I'm just not sure he plays both games. He's definitely first choice right back, that's for sure. He started like the last 5 games and he's played 90 minutes in all 5. But as far as we know, Matty Lowton is fit. So the only reason that Roberts has come in is because he's taken his place as first choice. Therefore, you would assume that at some point, considering Matty Lowton played 90 minutes in pretty much every other game this season, he could step in with all of the games coming thick and fast. They've obviously just played 2 games in quick succession. Robert started both. If Robert starts one of the others, he's going to have to play sort of 4 games in the space, about 10, 12 days. I think that there's a chance Lowton comes in for one. If you don't think that's the case, then I think Roberts is a great shout. His underlying data is pretty good, but I just think it's not worth it for me above and beyond the likes of me or Tarkowski. I ended last week at 140 minus 16. If double Arsenal defence would have worked, it could have been a masterstroke. Yep. Is double defence good enough for the doubles, or should I switch to double attack? I would say that Arsenal's game week 29 double is actually better from an attacking aspect, from an attacking perspective, I should say. But I don't mind double defence still. So I think if you're on double defence, mate, you just keep that personally. What do you think of Daka and Luke Shaw? Bit of a difference. Yeah, so in my if you haven't watched it already, my free hit team selection video, I spoke about both the Daka and Luke Shaw as two differentials. So I put together like a differential 11, and Daka and Luke Shaw are both in my differential 11. I think Daka could be really good. The reason I'm not really that keen on Daka is I'm essentially saying by picking this team, I think Burnley defence are going to do pretty decently. And so it doesn't make too much sense for me to then back a Leicester attacker. And that was the reason I don't have Zaha in my team. Again, I don't think Zaha's necessarily a bad option, but if I'm backing double Burnley defence, it seems weird for me to pick Zaha or Daka. If I'm doing that, I probably shouldn't go for double Burnley defence. That's one way to look at it. United or Southampton defence? That's a great question. That's the difficulty that I'm having. So that Bednarek spot, that could easily become Dallo because I've got 0.2 million in the bank. So I'm currently weighing that up myself. My main issue with Dallo is just he's missed the last 2 games. And when Lindelof came off in the Champions League, it was actually Wan-Bissaka that came on. So I don't know if he was just saving him potentially for the Watford game or he's just saving him for the Premier League. I'm not really sure what happened there, but I do think that Dallo's a good option. I do think that Dallo will start, but I'm not sure if I'm confident enough. And with the fact that I've also got Mahrez and Sterling, who are slight rotation risk, I guess Sancho's a bit of a rotation risk. I just think I want to go a little bit safer with Bednarek. And also, I guess I'll note this now. The reason that I'm so keen on Bednarek and Ward-Prowse, number one, Norwich have conceded the most goals from corners, or second most goals, I think it is, from corners this season. And they've also conceded the most penalties this season. So I think Ward-Prowse cross into Bednarek is definitely a possibility. And I also think a Ward-Prowse penalties is definitely a possibility as well. Over a 1-game sample size, it's very difficult to try and predict goals from corners and to predict penalties. But I want to try and tap into some of that variance. So I quite like Bednarek as an option. And he's only 4.4 million as well. God, I've lost where I'm in the chat. Livramento or Kyle Walker-Peters? I prefer Walker-Peters if you can. A lot of the Saints forums are currently predicting Walker-Peters to start at right back and then Perraud, the French left back, to start at left back, and then Livramento to be on the bench. I'm not sure if that's the case, but the fact that they've got 3 fit fullbacks who can all play right back and left back pretty much, or Walker-Peters and Livramento can both play right back and left back. I just don't know which 2 are going to start, so I'd actually prefer Bednarek, but I think Walker-Peters is probably the safer option. Richard says, did you not fancy a 3-4-3? I wouldn't mind it, but I think I prefer Ward-Prowse to Broja at the moment. And that's why I'm on a 3-5-2. If I were to play a 3-4-3, I'd probably downgrade Ward-Prowse and then maybe upgrade Bednarek to Walker-Peters or something like that. And then maybe put Broja in the starting 11. But I think I'm happy on the 3-5-2 for now. I'm wildcarding next week. Would you bring in Son or Sterling for the week? Have Foden and no Spurs. If you're wildcarding next week... Oh, that's a great question. I think I'd still back Son. I just don't know that Sterling's definitely going to start, and I do think the fixture's actually better for Son. So I think I'd bring in Son if you're wildcarding next week. No Ronaldo shout. I just don't actually fancy Manchester United that much against Watford. Watford have been pretty defensively sound recently. Manchester United just haven't looked all that. The only player in the team that I think has looked really good in the last 3 or 4 weeks, as a Manchester United fan, is Sancho. I actually quite like the Elanga shout on a free hit, but I just wouldn't be 100% confident that he starts. And even if he does start, he's likely to come off sort of like 60, 70 minutes for one of like Lingard or Rashford. What if, just hear me out, Nana Rapture is right about her free hit. Should we trust her? She's a legend. Give Nana a hug from us in Norway. I will do. I mean, I don't live near my nan, Nana Raptor, at the moment. It's only when I go home that I see her. But yeah, we FaceTimed last night and she's got a pretty unique free hit. She's got Fernandes and De Bruyne in there and she's got no Son. So she's back in Fernandes and De Bruyne, the 2 big heavy hitting premiums, and she's taken out Son, and she's got Foden as well. So her team's actually quite different from me, and I guess we'll have to wait and see how well that goes for her. But she's made some pretty good decisions so far. Captain Ronaldo will be ranting about my awful decision for weeks to come. Again, I don't mind Ronaldo. Like, his underlying data is still pretty good, but he just hasn't looked all that. The one thing that I like about Ronaldo is that Cavani still isn't fit. So Ronaldo should definitely start. I'd be very shocked if Ronaldo doesn't start. I don't think we're going to play Rashford or Elanga through the middle. And therefore, you've at least got sort of 60, 70 minutes with Ronaldo. And he is still Ronaldo. And there's no reason why he isn't on penalties if he starts. So I don't think Ronaldo's a terrible decision, mate. -4 for Son and Weghorst in and Bruno and King out. Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, I don't really like taking Bruno out. I know I've said that I'm not going for Bruno, and I don't think Manchester United will score lots of goals. But in the games where we win 1 or 2-0, Bruno always seems to manage one goal, and then he gets like an 11-pointer. And if that is the case, and I do think that 1 or 2 goals will separate the Manchester United Watford game, I think you're gonna struggle to pay that back. But I do like the Son and Weghorst moves, so it's up to you, mate, if you want to take Bruno out. Roberts or me, I still prefer me just for expected minutes. Roberts and me's underlying data is fairly similar, but me's obviously got the higher expected minutes. I know me has just scored a corner from a corner. That doesn't make me think that he's any less likely to score in the next game. That would be gambler's fallacy. I think he's just as likely to pop up again. I don't mind Tchaikovsky as well. His underlying data is actually very close to Ben Mee. His expected goals are about the same. His expected assists are just a little bit lower. So I don't mind Tchaikovsky in this double game week. I don't mind going for something like Forster in goal or Dubravka in goal and then going for both Tchaikovsky and Mee. I think that's quite a good shout as well. So it's up to you, really. I decided to go bigger midfield and sacrifice Kane. So do you think maybe Son, Bruno, Sancho and Sterling? Yeah, I quite like that. I've seen a few people go without one heavy hitter and then go big elsewhere. So if you took out Kane and you had like a front two of Broja and Weghorst, that would allow you to have like a midfield. You could have a midfield of like Son, Mahrez, Sancho, Sterling, Fernandes. That would look unbelievable. So yeah, I don't necessarily mind that. I just think this is a good fixture for Kane, personally. Do you think Livramento is a rotation risk? Yeah, so I do think Livramento is a rotation risk personally. I think that there's a very reasonable chance that we see the other two fullbacks start and Livramento drop to the bench. I think Livramento will start, but the Southampton forums aren't that keen on him starting, so I'll have to wait and see. Who to start over Broja and Ward-Prowse? I'm starting Ward-Prowse. The underlying data across the season would suggest that Broja's the one to start, so Broja's got better expected data. But in the last 6 weeks, or last 6 games, Ward-Prowse actually comes out on top for underlying data. So that would suggest that maybe Ward-Prowse is the one to go for. As I said, Ward-Prowse on penalties, and Norwich, I think, have conceded 8 penalties this season, and Norwich are one of the worst teams in the league for conceding from set pieces. So Ward-Prowse on penalties and set pieces, also with good expected assist data over the last 6 or 7 weeks. I think since Southampton have stepped it up, Ward-Prowse has also stepped it up. So I'm going to try and tap into a bit of that sort of that set piece penalty variance and also look at the more recent data. But I do like Broja. To be honest, I wouldn't mind one of Mahrez and Sterling missing out and me getting Broja because I am slightly nervous about having Broja as my first sub. So again, we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Hi Ross, love the channel. Thank you very much. I'm currently on around 300k. I'm currently around 300k. Realistically, where could I place or aim for? You're probably looking at a realistic aim of around 100k. I reckon you could push towards the top 50k if you've got a few chips and you make some good decisions. There is the chance you go for top 10k, but I'd say you're probably slightly off of that now. So I think make your first aim maybe top 200k. I think by the end of the season, top 100k is definitely in reach. And I think if you, like I said, if you've got some chips and you play them well, like a triple captaincy on Salah, that massively boosts your rank. I do think that you could potentially push towards the top 50k. So just keep pushing, keep having fun with it. What's your plan for blank game week 33? I plan on free hitting in blank game week 33. Why not Rafinha over Ward-Prowse? I just don't fancy... Leeds just look terrible, to be honest. I know Tottenham don't look that great either. But I just don't fancy Leeds to get that many opportunities against Tottenham. And I think Conte, despite what he's been saying in his press conferences, I expect some sort of reaction from Tottenham here. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't mind Rafinha, but obviously this is a free hit for 1 week. I think I'd prefer to tap into the fixtures. Is Reguilon to me and Watkins to Weghorst okay? Yep, I like that. I mean, Reguilon could start, but I still think that me's got the extra fixture. And I think Weghorst is definitely better than Watkins for this week. I'm just going to skip live because I'm really behind on the chat. So feel free to ask your question again. I try and get through to all these questions. When there's this many people in the chat, and it will probably keep increasing as more people get onto their lunch break, then I can't answer all the questions, unfortunately. Hi, Ross. I finally made it to the live stream. Good to hear, Polkit. Hope you're all doing well. Would like to connect with you sometime about your PhD. Thanks a lot for all the amazing content. Of course, my man. Just drop me a message. That's one of the perks of being a member. If you want to become a member, you can chat to me whenever you want. And you can also, if you're a RAP Tier 1 member, you can also get regular feedback on your team. Whenever you want to chat to me about your team, just drop me a message. And we've also got, obviously, the RAP Tier 1 members chat on Discord as well, where you can all chat about your teams. So if you're someone that wants to get feedback on your team more regularly and you want to find out what I think, by all means, become a member. But yeah, just drop me a message, mate, if you want to chat about the PhD. -8 to bring in Ward-Prowse and Broja. Is it worth it? Probably not in a blank game week, unless if Southampton play in blank game week 30, which we'll find out obviously before the game week 28 deadline, then it might end up being worth it. But that's a big risk you're taking when we don't know the result of that West Ham Southampton game. Great content as always. Is playing a 3-4-3 a risk on free hit considering how poor strikers have been this year? No, I don't think so, because the three strikers should have a Weghorst, Broja and Kane. And however poor each of them have been, I do think they're three of the best options in FPL at the moment. And on a free hit, like I said, you just need 1 week. You just need 1 goal. And we saw again what Weghorst and Kane did in game week 26. If they can replicate anything close to that, we'll be laughing. Jesus, the chat is just going far too quick for me. Sure, tell us. I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend that I know that. Any Manchester United fan that thinks that they know that is just guessing. The comments from Rangnick after the Champions League game would suggest to me that Tellez might see this game, and also the fact that Watford are a very defensive outfit, and I think Tellez is probably the slightly better attacking left back. So I would probably say Tellez, but I just don't know the answer to that, and that's why I've just sort of avoided Manchester United defence altogether. I think if I were to go for one and I had all the money, I would probably go for Maguire. Maybe Varane, but again, Lindelof could come in for Varane. I'd probably go for Varane or Maguire if I was going for one. I've gone Adams, KDB, Sancho over Broja, Bruno, Sterling. Another one to add to the regret list for Sunday night. No, I don't mind that. I think Adams over Broja is fine. They've got relatively similar data. KDB over Bruno, again, is absolutely fine. I think the fixture's probably actually better for KDB. I know Watford looks like a good fixture on paper, but like I said, they've been decent recently. And then Sterling over Sancho. That's absolutely fine as well. I don't think they're necessarily bad decisions. Robertson, Saka, Elise, Edouard to Kilman, Mahrez, Ward-Prowse, Weghorst for a -12. I wouldn't normally take a -12 in a week like this. The only reason I took such a big hit last week is because it was for a big double game week and those players had extra fixtures in 28, 29 and 30. So I'm not normally an advocate of massive hits. Despite just taking a -20, I don't normally suggest taking hits like that. So for me, I would try and do a couple of them. Like, do you need to take out Elise and Edouard? Yes, they haven't been playing that much. Well, Edouard hasn't been playing that much, but the fixture's all right against Burnley. Robertson, Saka to something like Robertson and Saka to a decent defender, maybe like a Ben Mee and then a Weghorst in for Edouard. Like, you could do a couple of those moves, I think. You don't have to do all of them. Captain Kane. I do like Captain Kane. I like Captain Son as well. I think there's definitely justification to pick Son or Kane ahead of Weghorst. I'm just a bit of a sucker for a double game week, so I'm going to probably be captaining Weghorst. Who is the best Southampton defender to transfer in long-term up to game week 31? I think it is probably Bednarek or potentially like Salisu. Salisu's been playing every minute, so Salisu's a decent option. I just think if you go for the fullbacks, you just don't know which ones are going to play long-term. The Southampton fans tend to think that Walker-Peters is the most nailed fullback. So I guess if you're going for a fullback, Walker-Peters. Outside of that, I do think Bednarek and Salisu are pretty good options. Is Ward-Prowse worth the downgrade of Bruno to Sancho or Sterling to Foden? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I don't think Bruno to Sancho is a downgrade, but the way you've worded that you think it is a downgrade, then just stick with Bruno, Sterling, and then start Broja. I just think, like, my little bit of fun in this team is Sancho, Sterling, and Ward-Prowse ahead of the likes of, I know a lot of people have Foden, Fernandes, and Broja. So my differentiation is those three players, and I'm happy to do so. Is De Bruyne a good differential? Yep, he's fine. He played a little bit deeper in recent matches, but he's still got pretty decent data, so I don't mind him. I just prefer to try and tap into that front three of which you think would probably be Foden, Mahrez, and Sterling. So I just try and get into the players that are in slightly more attacking positions personally. Which team do you support? I support Manchester United. Unfortunately, it's not very great at the moment, is it? -4 for Son and Weghorst, in for Bruno and King out. Yep, I like that. Again, I don't think you need to take out Bruno, but I think it's the same person asking. I don't mind taking out Bruno, but I don't know that I would take out Bruno for a -4 ahead of a decent fixture. Who to start, Bowen or Che Adams? I'd probably start Bowen if you have him. I'm not necessarily sure I'd have Bowen on the free hit, but I think if you've got him, he could be a decent differential this week because most people on free hit would have taken him out, and a lot of wildcarders took him out as well. Thoughts on Robertson, Fernandes? Yep, Roberts is fine. Again, the reason I don't have Roberts in my team is just I think Matty Lowton could start one of the games, and I just think Sancho, for the amount of money you save, could be a decent option ahead of Fernandes, but I think both of them are great options. Are you confident on Sterling starting with Grealish being fit? Yeah, so Grealish and Gabriel Jesus are both back. They both hurt Sterling for other reasons. Like, obviously, Grealish starts in the position that Sterling could start, and then Jesus could push Foden out onto the left or onto the right, or he could just play him. He could play Gabriel Jesus on the right. That could hurt Mahrez. Like, we just don't know. But the fact that Grealish and Jesus are just back fit, I think it would make more sense to stick with the front three of Foden, Sterling and Mahrez, and then maybe just play Jesus and Grealish in the FA Cup against Peterborough. That would make more sense to ease them in that way, but we just don't know. Loving the early stream time, suits me over here in Japan. Perfect stuff. Love to see that. Glad that I can accommodate to some different countries rather than just the UK. Sure to start, in your opinion? Again, I don't know. Shaw and Tellez is a very tricky one for me. I'd just avoid them both personally because we just don't know. If you own one of them, you just start them. But I think if you're going for one on a free hit, I think Shaw and Tellez is a pretty 50-50 call. I'd actually probably just about think that Tellez starts this one, but don't hold me to that. I've got no idea. Fraser and Fernandes to Mahrez and Sancho on the free hit. Yeah, I think I prefer Mahrez and Sancho over Fraser and Fernandes, but Fraser is a pretty cheeky differential. So is Willock as well. I do think that Newcastle-Brentford game, if you can correctly predict which way that's going to go, that could be a decent option for some differentials on the free hit, for sure. I have 2 free hits, wildcard and bench boost chips left to use. Wouldn't using free hits for bigger double game weeks offer more upside than game week 27 thoughts? Yeah, for sure, you could do that. So we'll switch to a bit of a chip strategy discussion. I'll get back to answering questions in the chat in 2 seconds. This was obviously from my chip strategy video. So if you haven't watched this yet, after this stream, or you can go and watch it now if you'd prefer to do that rather than watching a live stream, I have released an entire chip strategy video. This is if you've got 2 free hits left, what I would personally do. I've obviously got stuff from Game Week 26 in here as well. So I personally still think that the best strategy, if your team needs it this week, is to free hit 27, get through Game Week 30 with 7 or 8 players, which I think will be plenty, then free hit in 33, which is likely to be a double game week of some kind. If you don't need it, then you can free hit in 31 and 32, then wildcard in 34, and then bench boost in 36. That, for me, is the best strategy for my team, but it is very team dependent. The reason I like this one, and I'll explain it once more, is if you've already got a few Wolves players, maybe a few Arsenal players, maybe you've got a couple of Leeds or Southampton or Aston Villa, you're probably in a place where free hit 20, your team for 27 doesn't look that great, so you might want to free hit. If you have got those players, your team for 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32, for those 5 game weeks, probably already looks really good. And you've probably already got enough players for blank game week 30. Then you can get through 31 and 32 because the likes of Wolves, Arsenal, Leeds all have decent fixtures in 31 and 32. If you bring in Chelsea players for your free transfers, they've got decent fixtures in 31 and 32. Then if you free hit in 33, you can then basically wildcard into a bench boost in 34, 35. And then bench boost in 36. So that's why I like strategy 4. But of course, like you're saying, you can potentially keep the free hit. If you don't free hit in 27, you could free hit in 33, then bench boost in 36, and then you can keep the second free hit for like another smaller double game week in the remainder of the season. You could even free hit in game week 28. So game week 28 free hit does look very nice because there are quite a few teams that double with nice fixtures, the likes of Aston Villa, Southampton, Leeds. So I don't necessarily mind the free hit in 28 as an option. You could even free hit in 29. So it's completely up to you. For me, I would prefer to free hit in 27 and then free hit in 33 or 32 if I need it. But it's completely up to you. I'll just show you the chip strategy for those with 1 free hit as well. So I've just switched there to the strategy for 1 free hit. For those of you that have already used a free hit, I don't mind these strategies in there as well. So it really does depend on your current team, how many chips you have left, and when you want to play the wild card. That's pretty much how I've made my decision. I've decided in and around the wild card and what my current team looks like, more so than when I think necessarily the free hit will have the best output. Because I think a free hit is very tricky to try and decide. Oh, my camera's lagging out. 2 seconds, I just turned the camera off. I think it's very, very tricky to try and decide when a free hit's going to have great output. But what you can decide is when can you wildcard, when can you bench boost as well. And all of that will help you decide more accurately when you should deploy the free hit. So there's so many different moving parts to a chip strategy that it's just so difficult to try and suggest when someone should play their chips without seeing their entire team, without seeing all of this different stuff. So for me, this is what I would currently be doing for 1 free hit. And then I was just switched back again for 2 free hits. You're looking at something like this. Again, please do go watch the chip strategy video. It took me a long time to put together. I released it yesterday. It's about a 35 minute video where I talk through all of the different chip strategies. I talk through the timeline for the season as well. I'll just switch to that graphic where I've got the timeline for the season. I'll just take my camera out there for 2 seconds. So there you go. You can see the timeline for the season. And again, I've posted this on Twitter as well. So if you want to save this as a screenshot, you can do so. You can head over to Twitter and save that. Yeah, I know my camera's gone, by the way. My camera lagged out, so I've just turned it off. I'm just resetting it. So this is the timeline for the season. You can see here there are two, in my opinion, if you've not wildcarded in 26, you can wildcard in either 28, I think 31 or 34. Those are the three best times to wildcard for me. But I talked through all of that in detail in the chip strategy video that I released yesterday. So we'll switch back to the team now, and hopefully as well my camera will be back working, would be good. Right, let's switch back. Yep, there I am. Cool. So, by the way, if you're in the chat today and you're watching this live, please do drop a like on the video. We've got 100 likes, but there are 343 people in the live stream. So, if you're one of those 240 odd people that haven't liked the video, please do drop a like. It's completely free for you to do. It takes about 2 seconds, but it really does help support content creators just to push the video out there to other people. And if you are enjoying the stream today and you've enjoyed the video across this week, make sure you have subscribed as well. Where our next milestone, I guess, is 15,000 subscribers, which are a little way off, but we're going to keep pushing nonetheless. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. FPL Harry in the chat. Good afternoon, sir. Had a good time meeting you at the, well, obviously met you before, but had a good time chatting at the FPL meetup. That was very good. There were a few too many Jaeger bombs consumed, but there was a lot of chatting. Met FPL Mate, FPL Focal, FPL Harry. There were a lot of YouTubers at that event, which was good. We got chatting about YouTube and FPL and all sorts of stuff, and it was a really good evening. For those of you that saw the pictures on Twitter. If I wildcard in 28, would you do Salah, Martinelli, and Edouard to Son, Mahrez, and Broja for a -8? I'm not sure I'd take the -8. I think maybe Son and Mahrez is enough, and just start Edouard, and hopefully he starts. I don't think you necessarily need to do the -8 there, but the only other thing is if you have money tied up in Salah, just make sure you're not losing too much money by selling him, but I think you'll probably be fine. Cool, we got a super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Brian. No wildcard. Last free hit now or 36. Shout out to Discord. Hey, he's in the Discord. Good to hear. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, make sure you join the Discord. The link is in the description. I'll copy it in the chat in a second as well. To answer your super chat, I think if you've only got one free hit left, it depends if you've also got one bench boost left. So if you've got your... You've obviously only got one bench boost. If you have your bench boost left, I think if you've got your bench boost left, you can probably get away with playing your bench boost in 36. And therefore, that free hit you can maybe save. You can maybe, use in 27, 30, or 33. If you've not got your bench boost, I would argue that you probably need that free hit in 36. Otherwise, you're going to see a massive red arrow. Because most people are either going to be wildcarding into a bench boost in 36 or free hitting in 36. And due to it probably being the biggest double game week of the season, we're looking at as many as 14 teams doubling. I think 36 is good to save a free hit for, personally. So I think if I only had one free hit, I would probably try and keep my free hit for 36. What do you think about doubling defenders from Man City or doubling midfielders? I prefer doubling midfielders. I just think Everton are so shaky at the back. And in a free hit, I just think I really want to try and tap into that variance and attack the upside. And I think I'd rather attack the upside with double City attack. But I don't mind having a Cancelo and maybe a Diaz. I think Laporte is a really risky one because I think there's potential that Stones and Diaz start this one. So maybe if I was doubling up on defence, I'd be going for Cancelo and Walker, or maybe Cancelo and Diaz. So... hopefully that helps. Thoughts on Peters, the Burnley defender? I don't mind him. He's quite cheap. But again, similar, if Taylor is back or if they have anyone else they can play at left back, I do think there's a slight risk in a double game week. But I do think that Peters should start both. So I don't mind it if you're really strapped for cash. But again, this is the reason that I've made a couple of downgrades to my bench and just downgraded a few players elsewhere from like Walker Peters to Bednarek. I've just gone for me just because I just think he's nailed on for both starts. Same with Tarkowski as well, if you want to go there. Where do you aim if you are an overall rank of 14k? I think I'd aim for top 10k as a minimum. I think I'd be pushing top 5k. You're probably a little bit away from top 1k now. So I think top 10k and you're happy. And then I think maybe try and push for top 5k. What do you think will hurt the most? No City offensive or no Spurs cover? Spurs cover, probably. And question, would you go KDB to Son for a -4? No, I wouldn't do KDB to Son for a -4. But I think if you can get Son or Kane in elsewhere, then I think I'd probably try and do so. Because I think Son and Kane, this is a fixture which really suits them. How bad is it to not have Weghorst for this week? I don't think that's bad at all. I think you're absolutely fine not having Weghorst. I don't think he's going to do that well. I'm probably captaining and hoping for sort of 8 to 10 points realistically. Obviously, I'd like more than that, but I don't think you're too bad. I think he will have a fairly high ownership, but if you've got a decent captain elsewhere, I think you'd be fine. Is Bruno better than KDB this week? I think they're very, very close. Yeah, I would probably actually just about favour KDB. Like I said, I just think the Everton fixture is slightly better than the Watford fixture. It's a tough one though. If Ronaldo doesn't start and Bruno's on penalties, that makes me lean towards him probably. Hey Ross, which combo's better, Dallo, Robertson, Bruno, or me, Maguire, Sanchez? I prefer me, Maguire, Sanchez, but that's because I have me and Sancho. Sorry, and Sancho. Um, and I think Maguire's more nailed on to start than Dallo. I just think with me, Maguire, and Sancho, you've got two defenders which are more nailed, and Sancho's a cheeky differential, so I do like that. FPL Harry says, man has bro, you're on the bench. Who hurt you, Ross? Yeah, it's a tricky one. I do just really like Ward-Prowse, to be honest. And I don't mind. If Broja hauls, he hauls. At the end of the day, it's a close decision between Ward-Prowse and Broja. We'll see what happens. Why not Livramento? I just think the Bednarek's more nailed. Livramento could quite easily be benched. He might start as well, but who knows? Is it worth an additional hit to have a playing sub, taking a -4 to bring in Mahrez? I wouldn't take a hit to have a playing sub, but on a free hit, I would have playing subs. So hopefully that helps. I just think it would suck to take a -4 to not need that bench player. So I think you just hope that Mahrez starts and you hope that the rest of your players start probably. Hello, champ. Hello. What do you think about doubling defenders from Manchester City or doubling midfielders? So I just said that. I think I'd prefer double midfield, but I don't mind double attack at all. Sorry, I'm missing loads of chats here. I know there's only 343 people in the chat, but that's too many for me already. Is Dallo starting? I think Dallo will start, yes. Am I confident enough picking Dallo? I'm not sure at the moment. Currently, I've got Bednarek. I could quite easily do Bednarek to Dallo. I think if I were to pick a Manchester United defender, for me, it would be just about Maguire. And then second would be probably Varane. I do think that Telles and Dallo will start. If I had to guess the back four, I think it will be Dallo, Varane, Maguire, Telles. It could quite easily be Wan-Bissaka or Lindelof at right back, and it could quite easily be Shaw at left back, and it could quite easily be Lindelof instead of Maguire or Varane. It's very tricky to try and predict that Manchester United defence, but I think I'd lean towards Maguire if I was picking one. Captaincy, Mahrez, Son, Kane, Bruno. I like Weghorst at the moment. If I wasn't on Weghorst, as you can see, my vice captaincy is on Son. So I think I'd be going for Son as a captaincy. I do think Mahrez is a good option, specifically because he's on penalties as well. But I'm just never confident enough that a City attacker starts. FPL Harry says, thoughts on me and Tark and no Pope? Yeah, I don't mind that. I think you can go for Forster, or you could go for Dubravka in goal and you're saving some money. You could even go for De Gea in goal. If you want to go for like me, Cancelo, Tarkovsky, and De Gea, that's absolutely fine as well. I just think that Pope's likely to make quite a few saves. And if you're going for me and Tark, you're hoping for attacking returns, and you're hoping that Pope doesn't make too many saves. And I think it's probably more likely that Pope makes saves and gets bonus points than me and Tarkovsky scoring. So I still think I prefer Pope slightly, but I don't mind that as an option, Harry. KDB or Bruno? Just about prefer KDB myself. Hi Ross, what's your Manchester United defensive pick? Johnny says so. Morning, Johnny. Afternoon, Johnny. I should say. Yeah, I still think Maguire and Varane are the best two. Listen, Maguire's performances have warranted or justified him being dropped by Rangnick, but he's still the club captain. And if Rangnick hasn't dropped him yet, I actually think Maguire's been slightly better in the last few weeks than he was maybe 1 or 2 months ago. So I think Maguire's safe to start, but Maguire and Varane I think are probably the two best options. If you do want to be super sort of differential and risky, I do think there's a chance Telles starts, and he is pretty attacking when he does start. So you could go for Telles. Pocket says, have a decent team with 10 and not free hitting. The only miss, what I feel, are City mids. So thinking of Salah to Sterling KDB for a -4 this week. Next week's whoever I get in for Salah free transfer. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind the Salah hokey dokey if you want to. I think probably I'd go for Sterling if you think he's going to start. Outside of that, I'd bring in Son if you haven't already got him. It's probably a better move. But yeah, I don't mind taking out Salah this week and going back to Salah with a free transfer. I'm going for Sterling captain. Is that a good shout? I like it. I've obviously got Sterling in my team. The only reason I'm not captaining a City player is just due to the fact that I'm just not sure which of them I'm going to start. And it would suck on a free hit to get like a captaincy 1-pointer if they're coming off the bench. Best captain, not Burnley. I'd go for Son or Kane myself. Is Livramento starting? I don't know the answer to that. No one knows the answer to that. Why Sancho? I think Sancho's looked fantastic recently, and therefore I just think that I think on a free hit, it's very difficult to try and predict who's going to outscore who. I think Ronaldo will start. And if Ronaldo starts, I don't think Bruno's on penalties. When you take penalties out of the equation, I think it's fairly close between Sancho and Fernandes. You get the savings with Sancho, which allows me to go to Sterling. So that's why I've got Sancho over Sterling. Darshill's redeemed his 5-month highlighted message. Is your team locked in? Darshill says. So thank you for being a member for 5 months, by the way, my man. Thank you to all of the members as well. I appreciate you more than you know. Just as a quick plug, perfect opportunity now. As a member, you get highlighted messages. You also get personalized feedback from myself for your team whenever you want it. And also from our, I think we've got about 40, 45 tier 1 members now. So if you want a small chat with a lot of, by the way, I think I'm 12th in the mini league at 44k. So if you want feedback from lots of top managers and you want personalized feedback from myself as well in DMs, in Discord channels, we've got a private channel in there. Become a member. You can click the join button or you can click the link in the description which says if you want to become a member here. So if you would like to get that sort of personalized feedback like Darshill was getting, then you can do so. With respect to your question, is my team locked in? I'm going to say no because there is probably one position in my team that I'm not sure on, and that's the Bednarek position. So I'm not 100% sure that I'm doing Bednarek in that position. It could be Kyle Walker-Peters. It could be Dalot potentially as well. So I'm not fully locked in, but I'm pretty sure this is roughly what I'm going to be going with, mate. Sorry, I know that my streams just lagged a little bit, I think. It should be back soon, hopefully. Why Weghorst over Son captain? I just always back the double game week. You got twice the amount of opportunity to get points. So Weghorst's expected goal involvement is better than half of Son, but he's got 2 fixtures. So if you were to double that, because obviously we're looking at per 90, across 180 minutes, I just fancy Weghorst to get a few opportunities. Mahrez or Son? I'd go Son just because he's more nailed to start. Yeah, Andre says that 5 months looks great. I should be there soon. Yeah, I think you're very close, aren't you, Andre? I'll switch to the membership thing just to show you how many members we have because this is absolutely incredible now. I think we've got 60 or 59 or 60 members now. So all of these guys in the Rap Tier 1 membership section, we've got a private channel on Discord where we sort of chat about our teams and give personalized feedback. It's pretty much just a chat to talk about everything, really. And we've also got a Rate My Team channel. And so that is the slightly more expensive donation per month, $4.99. So that's the Rap Tier 1. And then Rap Tier 2, again, they get their messages highlighted in chat, more likely to respond to comments as well. And they have a specialized role on the Discord channel as well. So they have a Rap Tier membership role on the channel as well, which will come with some extra perks in the future. So if you want to become a member, this is the full list of members. As you can see, I think Andre was the first, Johnny was the second. We had Sean, Stephen, Carl, Marcelo, Robert, Matthew, Ahmed, Lawrence, Chris, Catlin, Jordan, Nicholas. All of these guys have been members for so long. There we go. There is Andre. There is Andre's highlighted message as well in the chat. This is great. Raptors are the best. Yeah, so if you didn't know this, by the way, you do get a highlighted message each month if you're a member, which is basically the same as a super chat. So rather than having to pay for a super chat, you can just get it for free as being a part of a member. I'm not going to plug it anymore, but I do really appreciate the members very much. And they know it because I tell them on a weekly basis how much I appreciate them. And yeah, very cool, Andre, getting your highlighted message as well. Fraser Forster, captain. I don't know that I'd captain him. I do think Fraser Forster's a decent shout, though. Like Harry said in the chat, if you want to go for me and Tarkowski... God, my throat. If you want to go for me and Tarkowski or me and Roberts, you want to go for 2 Burnley defenders, you could go for Forster in goal or Dubravka in goal, so I don't mind that. Ben Mee captain. I don't mind Ben Mee captain, but I think I prefer Weghorst or Son and Kane personally. Where's KDB? Not in my team. You can't have everyone, and I like Mahrez and Sterling as options. How many players do you think you need on your bench? For me, I would like one good substitute. That doesn't need to be Broja. That could be like a Livramento, Kyle Walker-Peters, Dalot. It could be anyone that you think is going to play and is a decent sub. So I'd like one strong sub. And then ideally, I'd like 2 playing subs that play, but you wouldn't really want to rely on. So I've got Armati and Williams here. I think probably one strong sub and then one average sub like an Armati and Williams, and then a third non-playing sub's fine. So I think something like you could get away with probably Livramento, Armati, and Tsimikas. I think that's fine. Yet Elanga is an absolutely excellent first sub as well. So if you want to go for Elanga, I think Elanga's a great shout. So yeah, like an Elanga, Armati, and Tsimikas, I think that's fine for a bench. It does largely depend on who you've chosen in your team, though, so we'll have to wait and see. Is it risky having Johnson, DBH, and Marty as my bench with double City mids? No, I don't think so. I think DBH and Amati are fine. I don't know that Johnson's definitely going to start. We could quite easily see Fredericks at right back. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think you'll be fine there. That is probably the weakest bench I'd want, but I think you might be able to get away with that. If I get top 10k, I'm 100% joining Rap Tier 2 next year. That's absolutely fine. It can be dependent on your rank. That's absolutely cool. Johnny says Zaha's being overlooked. Palace at home are strong. Yeah, I said this earlier on in the stream, Johnny. I think if I'm backing Pope and me, there's no way I'm putting Zaha on a free hit. That's not even a psychological thing. That is that if I'm backing having 2 Burnley defenders, I would rather just back the fact that I'm getting a clean sheet there. Because when you look at the double for Burnley, Crystal Palace and Leicester, I would say that that's probably better from the best fixture from a defensive perspective is Crystal Palace rather than Leicester. So if I'm backing Palace to score, I don't think I'd really want a Burnley defender on my free hit. So I think I've got to say no to the Crystal Palace attackers for that reason. Cool, like this, all of the members using their redeem chat. Richard says, great being a member with the other Raptors and Ross. Thank you very much. I love this. The members are absolutely fantastic. They're just the kindest group of people. Rather than actually just using their redemption for their highlighted message to get info and feedback, they're just doing it to be nice. So I appreciate that, guys, very much. Thank you. We've got one here from Stephen. Stephen's been a member for 6 months now, which is super cool. We'd love to see that. Hi, Ross, mate. Good to see you, mate. Would you bring in Weghorst or Broja this week? I'm thinking of Southampton's double coming up. I won't free hit this week. Yeah, that's a really tricky one. It really does depend for me, although I suppose this is the case for both of them. If the Southampton-Burnley fixture goes into 30, they're both fantastic options. The thing I like about Broja is it's a great fixture this week. It's a fantastic double. And it's a really good game week 30 fixture as well. And then they also have decent enough fixtures in 31 and 32. I'd be very tempted by Broja, but I think the sensible decision would probably be Weghorst because you get the double this week. I guess you could go Weghorst this week and then Broja next week. That would be a little bit upside chasing. It's obviously a couple of hits, but yeah, it's a really tricky one, mate. I'd probably go for Weghorst and then maybe do the Broja move next week. Let's actually switch to this graphic, by the way. I added Chelsea since the chip strategy video because I know a lot of people wanted Chelsea added in there. These are the teams that I would be targeting with my transfers over the next 6 weeks. Again, please go and watch my chip strategy video because I talk about this in detail. The reason I like these teams is that most of them play in game week 27. They play in game week 30, a lot of them, and they also double in 28 or 29. The reason I've added Chelsea in is because they've got fantastic fixtures in 28, 29, 31, and 32. They're likely to blank in game week 30, and they're likely to have a fixture added in 28. So if you're free hitting in 30 or you don't need the extra player in game week 30, I don't mind Chelsea as an option. And it looks like Chelsea will have a game week 28 double. At the moment, it actually looks like it will be the Norwich fixture from game week 30 added into game week 28, which would be super cool. So these are the teams that I would be targeting with my transfers over the coming game weeks. And you can see that's why I like Southampton is they play 27 Norwich, 28 they've got a great double game week of Aston Villa and Newcastle, Watford in 29. If they do get that fixture in game week 30, it's Burnley. It's then Leeds in 31. And then you could potentially wildcard in 32. Or you could just bench that player against Chelsea. Mahrez as captain. I don't mind Mahrez as captain. The reason I would not captain Mahrez is I'm just never confident enough that a City attacker is going to start. And therefore, I would probably... I don't even mind Cancelo as a punt. I think that could be a cheeky captaincy shout. But yeah, I think I'd prefer to just go for probably a Tottenham player. Despite the fact they didn't look good recently against Burnley. I'd probably rather go for a Tottenham player or just Weghorst for me. Bruno and Foden or Sancho and Sterling? I knew I'd get that question repeatedly. There's no way to decide between Bruno and Foden and Sancho and Sterling. It's completely up to you. Genuinely, this is a gut feeling call. Use my coin flip trick. If you haven't watched the Psychology 101 video on gut feeling, by the way, go watch that. Get a coin, flip it, do heads and tails. As that coin's in the air or just as it lands, think about what you want. So if you flip it and it lands on heads and that says Bruno or Foden, what is your immediate thought there? If your immediate thought is, I want to flip again, then you probably want Sterling and Sancho. If your immediate thought is, I'm happy with that, then you probably want Bruno and Foden. So just do a gut feeling call. There's no good way to give you an opinion on that. What I would say is if Ronaldo doesn't start, Bruno and Foden's looking good because Bruno will be on penalties. But I think Ronaldo's going to start, in which case Bruno still could be on penalties, but it's less likely. Chelsea Sea of Green looking really tasty, for sure, for sure. It looks really good, especially when we get that fixture added into game week 28. If it is Norwich, a double game week of Burnley and Norwich is going to be excellent. Even if it's Arsenal, that's still a decent double game week there for sure. Rubber Ducky here, quack quack. Good to see you, mate. Hi, Ross. Love all of your content. Just wondering why you've gone for Bednarek over Carl Walker-Peters. It's a little bit of budget and then also a little bit of I just think he's really nailed. And then also, as I've said in a couple of occasions, Norwich actually concede a lot of chances from set pieces and corners. So I could quite easily see a Ward-Prowse corner or a free kick whipped into a header for Bednarek. So I'm just trying to tap into that variance a little bit from corners and set pieces. Although Bednarek does have red card and own goal written all over him, but I'm just going to hope it's not this game week. No free hit this week for me, but I'm looking to bring in a defender for Ben Johnson. Looking for Luca Dean, Saiss, or maybe Ait-Nouri. Already got Cancelo and Reguilon playing with Trent and Tierney on the bench. Yeah, I'd say Luca Dean or Saiss would be my favourite two options. I actually really like Saiss because I think that double next week is so good for defensive output for Wolves, and also they play in blank game week 30 against Leeds. So I think I would actually lean towards Saiss just about. Got more highlighted messages from the members. Johnny says, would you rather be able to see the scores of each game, not the goal scorers, before a game week, or every detail of a single game before a game week? That's a great question. Let me know in the chat. That's a great question. It's like a would you rather. Let me know in the chat. Goodness me, my throat. Let me know in the chat. It's like a would you rather. Would you rather be able to see all of the scores of each game? You can read it in the chat, by the way, and not the goal scorers. So you'd be able to see like Wolves win 2-0, West Ham win 3-1. Or would you rather see every single detail of a single game? I think I would go for the scores of each game just because you could nail the clean sheets. And also, if a team scores 6 goals, you could maybe load up on a couple of their attackers. So I think I would prefer to see the scores of each game rather than every detail of the single game. But if you went for every detail, you could nail the City lineup and the City scorers each week. And I think I'd probably end up choosing City most weeks. That's a good question, Johnny. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Carl Smith, good to see you, Carl. Good to see you in the chat. He's redeemed his 6-month membership. He says, thinking ahead, would you sell Bowen for Ward-Prowse for the future double and fixtures? I would, but Bowen is still excellent. And I think we need to not get carried away with thinking that Bowen's suddenly terrible. So thinking ahead, would you sell Bowen for Ward-Prowse? I would, because you get a better fixture this week. You get a double in 28, and you have the possibility of a fixture in 30. With Bowen, you don't have a fixture here. Don't have a double fixture here. You don't have a double fixture in 28, sorry, he faces Liverpool, and you don't get the fixture in 30. So to answer your question, Carl, yes, I would, but Bowen's underlying statistics are better than Ward-Prowse, and therefore it has the potential to bite you in the bum, that one. But I think I would just about do it. Hey, we've got a new member, DePhoto TV. Nice to see you, mate. Thank you for becoming a Tier 1 member. You should be able to get like a redeemed message, but just let me know in the chat if you've got any messages, and obviously it'll be highlighted as a member. Also, make sure you message me on Twitter or on Discord, and we'll add you to the private channel for Wrap Tier 1 members. And then you can get feedback on your team for this week if you want any feedback. Good to see 400 people in the chat, by the way. 400 people watching live. If you're one of the 400 people that hasn't liked the stream, please make sure that you like the stream. We're on 165 likes, so over like 200 or 300 people haven't liked the stream. And then also make sure you subscribe as well. Subscribe, turn on notifications, like the stream. I really appreciate it. God, my throat is battered. I'll tell you what, lecturing all week. I lecture for 12 hours a week, and they're 2-hour lectures. And then speaking on YouTube all week as well. It has killed my voice. I'm wildcarding a game week 28. Would you do the following? Okay, you just entered your message. Send me your wildcard team then. That's fine. Great stream, Ross. Broya or Dallo as first sub. I prefer Broya. Question, please, for Ross and FPL Phillips. I have one to bench of these 4. Bowen, Jimenez, Rafinha, or Zaha. I'd bench Rafinha myself, John. Just liked for you. Thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate that, mate. Did the coin flip. Looks like I'm sticking with Sancho and Cancelo over Bruno and Diaz. Love it. The coin flip works. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the coin flip is accurate. What the coin flip tells you is it gives you an insight into your gut feeling. And in doing so, you're going to be less resentful if the decision goes the wrong way. So, for example, and I know this is going to show you that the coin flip doesn't always work, between Antonio and Bowen, remember when Bowen scored like 21 points, wherever it was, and Antonio got barely anything? I used the coin flip technique, and my gut feeling was Antonio. I didn't resent my decision. Yes, Bowen massively outscored him, and I should have captained and brought in Bowen. But I was perfectly happy with that decision because my gut feeling told me from the coin flip was Antonio, which I was perfectly happy with. Yeah, I think most people are saying scores for the matches they prefer. Mira in the chat, thanks for doing an earlier stream, Ross. It's almost midnight in Australia. Yeah, I'm really sorry that my streams always seem to be better for those in the UK. But glad to see a few Australians in the chat as well. Let me know if you're in Australia. Good to see you. I know like that's why FPL Dare, for example, and FPL Inzaghi, they do some earlier streams as well because obviously it works better for the Australians out there. FPL Bateman in the chat. Marcus, I believe, right? That's your name, Marcus. Good to see you, my man. Hi, Ross. Enjoying your stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We've got another super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Upside of saving 2 free hits for later. 33 and 30 and 33. Wildcard 28, 31. Yeah, if you don't need to free it in 27, I do like saving your wildcards for later. Let me switch back to that graphic, actually, just so that you can see. Nope, not that one. It is that one. Is that right? Yep, 2 free hits. There you go. So that is, these are just some potential strategies. I do prefer free hit in 27. As you can see, all 3 of these strategies have got free hit in 27. But there are other things that you can do in and around that. Like if you're not feeling a free hit in 27, saving a free hit for game week 33 double and maybe free hit 36. Or like you said, you can free hit in 30 and then save one of the other free hits for a later double game week. That's absolutely fine as well. So I think you've got tons of good options there. I just think for my team, free hit 27 has a lot of upside personally there. Highlighted message from Polkit, one of our other members, been a member for 2 months. I do appreciate you. Being a Rap Tier 1 member is like having informed Salah playing for a triple game week against the defenderless Norwich, Leeds and Watford, all at home, so go for it. I like that analogy a lot. I appreciate you very much, my man. I'm glad you're enjoying being a Rap Tier 1 member. I love our Rap Tier 1 members. You're all fantastic, so thank you very much. Mahrez and Sterling or KDB and Mahrez? So the question is Sterling versus KDB. I prefer Sterling myself, just. I would say that, though, because I have Sterling in my team. How does psychology explain gut feeling? You're going to have to go watch my gut feeling video. I did a whole, 40-minute video. Let me, I'm going to link it for you. And you can go and watch that in your spare time. Let me go find that now. I did a video on gut feeling in FPL, and it took me a while to put together, but hopefully it will allow you to understand. Get shareable link. Here you go. For anyone that wants to know more about gut feeling in FPL, I'll just spam my chat a few times. You can save that for later. That should take you to my gut feeling in FPL video. No, it didn't. Why didn't that work? Wait, ignore that. Ignore those. Oh, there you go. Darshill's got me. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you very much. I'm going to remove all of my messages because that link definitely isn't correct. Okay, it's not working for me. Hopefully that... Let me know if Darshill's link works. I think it's because... Oh... Sorry, stream cut out. I'm back. Apologies there. Had a bit of a mare there with trying to get the link through. Cool. So let me switch back to my team. So this is by the way, if you're just joining, make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe. This is the team well, this is my current free hit team anyway. It's not 100% locked in, but I'm pretty certain on most of the players here that I want. I'm fairly happy with what we've got going here. Cool, love to see it. Marcelo's just used his highlighted message. If you want a green arrow and some insightful FPL tips and live tips, come here. Be a member and join our great community. I love. Do you know what? I don't even need to promote the membership feature because all of our members are doing a fantastic job there for us. It is the best community in the world. It's guaranteed, to be fair. Your question though, Martinelli or Saka from Game Week 28? I still think Martinelli's the one. The only reason I didn't bring in Martinelli myself is because he didn't have the double in Game Week 26. But I think from 28 onwards, Martinelli just looks so... Every time I watch Martinelli, he's fantastic. And his underlying statistics are excellent. You sort of sitting around a sort of 0.5, 0.6 expected goal involvement. So, Max, I think I would go for Martinelli. But we'll see. Obviously, make sure there's no injuries in training. Make sure what's said in like press conferences, etc. But I think it's a good shout to go for Martinelli. Thanks, Ross, for the answer. You are more than welcome, John. Can you wildcard 28 and try to bench boost 36? Yeah, I don't mind that, Will. The issue is if you wildcard 28 and bench boost 36, you've got like 8 or 9 game weeks in between those where anything could happen, and you might think you're setting yourself up for a really decent bench boost, but it might not end up being such a fantastic bench boost. By the time that comes around, you might have injuries, you might have players being rotated, etc. So it's pretty tricky to try and work it out. Another member. Is it? So let me know in the chat, by the way. I always don't know how to pronounce. Is it Catlin or Caitlin? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat how to pronounce it. Is it A or A? I'm gonna just say Catlin for now. It might be Caitlin. Share, like, and subscribe. It's free for all, but it really helps the channel, and I'm really enjoying the content. It's absolutely true. Completely free. Make sure to share with friends, like, subscribe, etc. I do appreciate you using your highlighted message to support the channel. Rafinha and Martinelli have similar play styles. They do. When you watch Martinelli, there's definitely similarities with Rafinha. What I would say is that Martinelli's finishing and output is significantly better than Rafinha's, and his underlying stats are better as well. I think he's a little bit more direct than Rafinha. I think Rafinha's more so about sort of... Rafinha's very useful for like creating chances and sort of dragging people out of position. But it's a tricky one to sort of try and differentiate between the two. But I do definitely see similarities between the two. Did time travel to the future. I'm playing Mahrez, Sancho, and Willock. Willock scored a hat-trick. Fair enough. I do think Willock's a decent shout. I think Fraser's a decent shout. You can go Mbermo, Tony. You could go for anyone in that game. It's just very tricky to try and work out what's going to happen between the two of them. Cool, we have got a new member. Welcome. Again, make sure you DM me on Twitter or message me privately on Discord and we'll get you added to the private channel on Discord. Welcome, Kingsight. I know you've been in a lot of the live streams and you're always commenting on the video, so I appreciate you taking your support to the next level, becoming a Rap Tier 1 member. Welcome. Got Yash in the chat. Good afternoon, Yash. How are you, mate? Struggling to decide whether to take a hit for White to a Burnley defender. I've got a back this week of Cancelo, 8 Nuri, and Johnson. 1 week punters and wildcarding in 28. So would you take a hit to go from White? Yeah, I would. I'd go for it. I'd go for it and play him ahead of Johnson, Tim, in my opinion. You're unlikely to lose lots of points there. Unless Johnson suddenly hauls, you're probably unlikely to lose too many points. And I think the upside's definitely there. So I would go White to Ben Mee and I'd attack the double in front of you. But I mean, you've got a great rank this season. You know what you're doing. Trust your gut. What do you think about free hit 27 and wildcard 28? Yep, I love that as well. We've gone through that as a strategy. I think that's absolutely fine. Hi, Ross. KWP is more attacking than Bednarek. Late Riser tweeted that KWP will start based on what he scanned through Saints forms. Yep, I could well end up. So what I can do, I've got 0.2 million in the bank. So if I do Williams to Simicast, I can do Bednarek to Walker-Peters. So that final spot, as I said, this team's pretty much locked in. The only position that's not locked in is that Bednarek spot. That could be Dallo. That could be Walker-Peters. That could potentially be, I could go to Tarkowski and downgrade Pope to Fraser Forster or something like that. So it's a bit of a tricky one there. But for the time being, I've got Bednarek just because Norwich are really, really shaky from set pieces. And I do think that there's the opportunity for a Bednarek header from hopefully a Ward-Prowse delivery. How did you come up with your channel name? I came up with my channel name because I'm a Toronto Raptors fan. And what I wanted with it was I wanted the opportunity for it to be a name that someone could call me. So again, this isn't a dig at someone like Let's Talk FPL because he's obviously the biggest guy in FPL. But you can't call Andy Let's Talk FPL because it's more of a channel name. So what I wanted is people can call me Raptor if they want to. It can be referred to as a name. And that was because at the time I wasn't sure if I was even going to show my face or tell people my name was Ross. And here I am, sort of 18 months after joining the FPL community, after making my Twitter account, and my face is plastered everywhere. So there you go. But yes, because I'm a Toronto Raptors fan. So Mr. Freddie Van Vliet is an absolute legend. MVP. Play one of Dennis Cucurella and Luca Dean. I would play Cucurella, just Aditya. Thoughts on Alanga? I think Alanga's a great shout. Either as a first double, you could potentially start him. Ross, why are you playing Ward-Prowse over Broja? I just think Norwich are really susceptible at conceding from set pieces. And so, yeah, that's the reason for that. We can take a little bit of a look about that later, but Norwich have conceded a hell of a lot of opportunities from corners and free kicks. Crawl is back. Would you spend the extra 0.1 to upgrade Gun to Foster, or are you just going to leave it? Yeah, I could do. I've got 0.2 million in the bank, so I could do it. I'd be incredibly shocked if Pope misses both games, though, so I think I'm going to be fine. But yeah, I might end up doing that later today. I didn't realise Crawl was back, so thank you for letting me know that. Why Bednarek over United defender? I just don't know which United defenders are going to start at that cheaper price, and I think that's a decent opportunity for a clean sheet. So, yeah. And like I said, I think Bednarek could do well from a corner for this game. How bad would it be to completely avoid Spurs players for game week 29 when I have three Liverpool and Arsenal trying to save a wild card? Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I might not have any Spurs for game week 29 as well. So, it's not necessarily the worst. How do you become a member and how much does it cost? So the join button next to the subscribe button, if you're on some sort of desktop or laptop, and if you don't have that on your mobile, there's a link in the description, which will have like a little medal next to it. It will say, if you want to become a member, click here, or click here to become a member. It's just something like that. It's £4.99 per month for Rap Tier 1 membership. That's when you get like personalized feedback on your team, and you can join our Rap Tier 1 mini league, and you can also join our private channel. So that's like the better one. And then it's 99p a month to become a Rap Tier 2 member. So it's really cheap. Across a year, it's like £12. So that's like half a takeaway to be a Rap Tier 2 member every single week. And for those of you that want to know, I'm very transparent about sort of this sort of stuff. YouTube take 30% of that, and the YouTuber takes 70%. So out of a £4.99 membership, we don't take the full £4.99. YouTube take 30% of that. So we get sort of like, I don't even know where it works, about £3.50 for each person. So yeah, fairly transparent with that sort of stuff. Only just found your videos. Just to say, really enjoying the stream. Nice positive vibe for grown-ups. Honest advice. Very good. Thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, my average age for people that view is actually slightly older. I think there are certain YouTubers that are very quite energetic, and the graphics are slightly more sort of tailored to younger audiences. But yeah, my audience is actually pretty sort of average, about 28 to 30 years old. So, but I appreciate the kind words. That's great that you've just found the channel and you're enjoying it. Are all of you free hitting? Yash says. I think a lot of us are free hitting, but I don't think all of us are. Yeah, let us know in the chat. Are you free? Do you know what? I'll put out a poll. It's great that you can create polls. Are you... Actually, I'll make it a little bit more decisions. So what are you doing in game week 20? Sorry, my keyboard's proper loud, isn't it? We'll go free hit. We'll go free transfers. / roll transfer, and then we'll add in -4, and then we'll add in -8 or more. Is that covered everything? If you're on wildcard, you can just click free transfers, just because I can only add 4 options. So I've just slapped a poll in the chat. So let us know in the chat. Vote on that poll. Are you free hitting? Are you free transfer / roll transfer? Are you -4 / -8? And yeah, let us know in the chat, and I'll look at that poll in a second, and we'll see what everyone's doing. Dan says, thinking of De Gea in goal and double Burnley defence, De Gea feels the most nailed. Yeah, I did say that, Dan. I really do quite like having me and Tarkowski, or me and Roberts, having 2 Burnley defenders, and then you can go for a different goalkeeper. You can go Forster, I should say. You can go for potentially De Gea. Dubravka's not a bad option. If you fancy the Brentford defence, you could go for Raya. Like, there are a few decent keepers. I just think I do really fancy Pope to get quite a few saves in this double, and if he keeps any clean sheets, he could be on for a pretty big monster haul. Could there be price rises before I lock in? No. So in case you didn't know, price rises happen at 1:30 a.m. GMT. So there aren't going to be any price rises. The price rises always happen at the same time every night. So 1:30 in the morning GMT. Total Tactics in the chat. Good to meet you, by the way, at the FPL meetup. It was good to say hello. Are you hoping for Norwich to extend their lead in penalties conceded? I am indeed. That's what I've got Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse is good because Norwich have conceded, I think, 8 penalties, which is the most in the league this season. And they've also conceded one of the most chances conceded from corners and set pieces in general. So Matthew says, you look really young today, bro. Thank you. Are you telling me that I look my age of 24 years old? For anyone new to the channel, I am 24 despite being bald and looking about 400. Do you think El Yunusi could be a better option than Ward-Prowse? More gold threat. Yeah, El Yunusi. Lucy Heine, if you follow her on Twitter, she's absolutely fantastic. And a few of the Saints fans on the forums, they're not 100% sure that he actually starts. And I'm just not 100% sure, therefore, that I want to take that risk. Especially considering that I think Ward-Prowse is a great option for those penalties, corners, free kicks, etc. Watching from Hong Kong. Welcome from Hong Kong. Great to hear that. Watkins to Veghorst for a -4. Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Hey, we've got a new member. So Johan found a way. Is it Johan or Johan? Johan? I'm going to say Johan with like a Y. Welcome. I know you've been in a lot. You've watched a lot of the videos and been in the chat. I recognize your name popping up quite a lot. So welcome to becoming a member. That's 3 new members in the live stream today. So all 3 of you guys that have joined and become members, number one, I appreciate you very much. Just drop me a message on Twitter. I'll give you a follow on Twitter, or drop me a message privately on Discord and I'll add you to our private channel. Do you know what? I'll just show people our Discord channel actually whilst we're on that topic. That, and then is it that? God, I'm trying to work out what I'm trying to do here on my Stream Deck and my OBS. Right, so this is our Discord channel. For those of you that are wanting to... This isn't even just if you're a member, by the way. This is completely free to join our Discord channel. One of the... Can someone drop our Discord thing in the chat, please? One of the members, can you drop our Discord channel? So if you just go on to the invite people to the server, one of you will know how to do it. If you can just invite people to the server. It's also linked in the description, our Discord community. So this is our Discord community. We've basically got loads of FPL. If you're not joined Discord, by the way, it's basically like a group chat, but it's segregated into different channels. So we've got an FPL chat. We've got a Rate My Team chat as well, where you can basically, if you want some feedback on your team, there are loads of people. You can see 90 messages this morning. There's loads of people just asking for feedback on their teams, and people will give you it there. We've got a captaincy chat in here. We've got a team news chat where you can post links to different forms of team news. You've got injuries as well. So what you can do is you can find out your injuries for the team. We've got a stats bot where you can find out different statistics. So even something such as simple as, if I just do just the command -deadline, right, that comes up with the deadline is in 5 hours, 15 minutes and 26 seconds. You can do things such as /XG, which will give you the XG for all of the games across that past game week. You can see the XG there. We've also got FPL polls as well. So I run different polls throughout the weeks, which is good to see. This is where if you're a Rap Tier member, by the way, this is our Rap Tier members chat. So you can see this, we're chatting at the moment in here. And there's a tier 1 Rate My Team. So this is in here where you can get personalized feedback from a smaller group. So stuff like that. And then this is the reason I really love the Discord channel, is there's loads of miscellaneous channels. So you can see there's football. We've got a UCL fantasy. So again, if you're playing like UCL fantasy and you want to get your feedback on your team from UCL fantasy, we've got an F1 chat. If you're following Formula 1 and you want to get some chats with some people about F1, there's that in there as well. There's FIFA 22 in there. So again, if you're playing FIFA 2, you're playing Ultimate Team. We've got general gaming as well for different forms of gaming. There's a food chat where people are posting different pictures of their food as well. Clive made a very nice looking sourdough, which made me very, very jealous in there as well. Got fitness, so I post some of my runs in here that I've been doing. There's support and advice, so just general support and advice if you want to give any support or just life advice you want. Music sharing, memes. You got face reveals as well if people want to share their face in there. So, of course, I did start this with a lovely picture there. And then there's charity, book club as well. So I've been posting the books that I've been reading. So I just finished Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And then Wordle as well. And we've actually got a football Wordle. So what you can see here, it's super cool, is it's a football version of Wordle. So it's like we've got like a bot which allows you to play Wordle in there. So there we go. That's what's going on all there. I'm very behind on catching up with a lot of this stuff because I've been streaming and stuff. But when you join, it will say welcome. Make sure you introduce yourself when you join as well. I know a couple of people have put it in the chat, but what I'll do is I'll just drop it a couple more times. So I'll just invite people there and I'll just chuck this in the chat a couple of times. Right. So make sure you join. And yeah, that is that. Lots of unread topics. Yeah, I've been very busy. I haven't got around to getting around to all of those. But that's the best part, is that it doesn't require me to give feedback. It's got everyone basically just interacting with each other. If you're in the watching this and you haven't liked the stream, please make sure you drop it a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Always lots of content every single week. We've got a team selection video, some sort of game week preview video, and then also a live stream as well. So there's 3 pieces of content every single week. Veghorst or Adams, who is the best long-term pick? I think I prefer Veghorst. I like Broja, to be honest, more than Adams for the price. Toby says, hey, Ross, such a huge fan. I appreciate that very much, Toby. I'm pretty confused after game week 27. Which would be the best move? Wildcard 28, bench boost 29 vibes till 38, or take hits to navigate 28 to 33, and then wildcard 34 into bench boost 36. I think if you're wildcard in 28, Toby, I think I quite like the bench boost 29. I think if you're not wildcarding in 28, I think wildcard 34, bench boost 36 is fine as well. So look at your team. If your team is well set up for 28, 29, 30, don't wildcard. Save the wildcard for 34, 36. If your team's looking pretty rough, then I would probably just wildcard 28, bench boost 29. I think that's an absolutely fine strategy. I think that could work really well. Just join the Discord. Lovely stuff. Is this your final team for tonight? I can't decide between Bruno and Sterling. Yeah, it's probably my final team. I can't see myself making any changes. Bednarek to Walker-Peters is the only one I'm tempted by. And then it might be that I go for Bednarek to Dallo, potentially. Yoga says, Ross, do you follow Fantasy Football Scouts team news by Neil? I do occasionally. Why? Has he said something? Let me know in the chat if he said something that makes you question something else. FPL The Max says, using my free transfer to take out Saka for this week, who do you think is the best replacement? Ward-Prowse, Kulusevski, Cornet, or Rafinha? What's your chip strategy, mate? It largely depends on that. I think I like Ward-Prowse and Kulusevski this week as 2 options, but longer term, I think Rafinha is a great shout for the fixtures. If we just switch back to that teams to target the graphic, I think Rafinha is a great shout because you get 28, a really nice double, 29 Norwich, you get a fixture in 30, and he's got good fixture in 31 and 32, so it does really depend on your chip strategy. When's the best time to use the triple captaincy? I think 29's fine. Brighton and Arsenal for Salah's fine. However, I think Liverpool could potentially get a double in game week 36, and the double might be slightly better in 36. So you could hold off, Patrick, and just hope that the double's slightly better in 36, but it's up to you, really. So actually, the spelling is like that, okay, and you pronounce the A like this, as in about. So Catalan. Is it like that? Is that correct? I'm sorry. I'll find out after this stream and I'll get it right for next time. Completely butchered it, I know. Free hit 30, still got bench boost, all other chips used. Okay, let me go back to your message then. So you're free hitting in 30. Oh, if you're free hitting in 30, maybe Kulusevski then. Or maybe JWP and you just don't really care then if... You don't really care if the Southampton get the fixture, in blank game week 30. Did you see Focal had 50 points on his bench last game week? I did. So I met Oscar at the FPL meetup. If you don't follow us on Twitter, by the way, posted some pictures. I was chatting with Oscar for quite a long time. We had a few drinks together. I had a few Jaeger bombs together as well. But I was there when, obviously, Ben Mee got some points and Veghorst got that 12 points. So I knew that he had both of those on the bench and Pope. So I knew it was going to be rough, but yeah, it was really tough for him. But to be fair, I don't know if you followed Focal for a while. He bench boosted for something like 35 points earlier on in the season. So I don't think he's too stressed about that. You don't think Kulusevski's starting? Interestingly, I think Kulusevski will start. But yeah, there's obviously the potential for the likes of Moura or Bergwijn to come in. Vivek says, love your content, Ross. Thank you very much, my man. Alex Riley, been a member for 3 months. Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it. When should I play my wildcard? I'm free hitting this week and no bench boost. It really does depend on your team, Alex. I think either wildcard 28, wildcard 31, or wildcard 34. They're my three favourite times to wildcard is 28, 31, 34, and it largely depends on your team. Johan says, just become a member. How do I get the exclusive stuff on Discord? So you've privately messaged me on Discord or message me on Twitter. So DM me on Twitter. It's at FPL__Raptor, and I'll get you added to that. It's either way, whatever's easiest for you, mate. Or if you don't use Twitter or Discord already, you can just email me and I'll get you involved in that way. Just get into contact with me in some way and I'll get you added to our private channel. Cool. So what I thought I'd do actually, just for the next section, I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for today, by the way, is I thought I'd just talk about what I'm doing a little bit. And I know I do want to answer your questions in the chat, but some people find it very useful when I talk about what I'm doing because it allows you to sort of compare and go alongside me. So whilst I'm doing this, what you can do is you can switch to FPL.team. Right, it's not that one I want, it's that one, isn't it? You can switch to FPL.team and do this alongside me, all right? So it's FPL.team, really simple to remember. Type that into your URL, go into the planning ahead section. You can like plan ahead alongside me whilst I'm just sort of chatting about my team. And I can explain to you what I've done so far and what I plan on doing. So remember, I did indeed take a -20 hit in game week 26. I'm only on a 5k red arrow though, so it actually paid off very, very well. And I'm very, very happy with the way that it's gone. What that has left my team looking like is pretty good for 28 and beyond. Now, this isn't my team without transfers. This is with a -8. So what I've actually done is, do you know what? I'm actually just going to refresh it and I'll just show you what, I'll just actually go through the stages of this. So this is the way my team looks following the -20. Right, so this is the way the team looks with no transfers used for game week 28. Obviously, I'm free hitting in 27, so we can ignore 27. So I'll go into game week 28 with one free transfer, and I've got 0.6 million in the bank. So what I'm currently thinking is I want to get more players for blank game week 30 because I'm not going to free hit in game week 30. And I'd also quite like to get a couple of extra players that double in game week 28. So in my head, I'm thinking, right, Villa definitely have a good double in 28 and Villa also playing blank game week 30. The other thing that I like, the other team that I like is Southampton. Got a nice double in 28 and they might play in game week 30. We'll obviously find that out before the game week 28 deadline. And Rafinha is a great option because, again, he doubles in 28 and he plays in blank game week 30. And then the other thing I'm thinking about is I want a Chelsea player because Chelsea are likely to have a double in 28. And if I just go to searching for a Chelsea player, you can see they've got, outside of the doubles, they've got Burnley, Newcastle, Norwich, Brentford, Southampton, Leeds as their next 6 fixtures. So in my head, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to want to get a Chelsea defender in there as well. So with all of that being said, I think I'm planning on taking a -8 for game week 28 to set myself up again even better for future fixtures, get those extra fixtures in there. So what I'm currently planning is Bowen out for Coutinho, right, which will give me Coutinho against Southampton and Leeds. I'm then planning probably, and I know this is a bit crazy taking Cancelo out, but when you look at Cancelo's fixtures, he doesn't get any extra fixtures in 28 or 29. He's not going to play him in game week 30 unless Man City somehow lose to Peterborough. Then it's Burnley in 31 is a decent fixture, but then Liverpool and Wolves in 32 and 33. And then remember, I'm free hitting in 33 and I'm wildcarding in 34. So I don't need to have Cancelo in my team. By the way, someone's asking, is this tool free? It's completely free. I'll just type it in the chat. It's just like that. If you do actually like that, you can go straight to it. So it's just fpl.team/planning ahead. You just click on that, type in your team ID, and you can plan ahead. So Cancelo would probably go to, if Reece James is fit, I want Reece James. So I'm going to put Reece James in, but this could quite easily be Rudiger. If I'm not sure, I'll go for Rudiger. Because what we're likely to get is we're likely to get a double in game week 28 for Chelsea. So they're likely to get Burnley and then one of either Arsenal or Norwich added in there. So I'm going to get James in. So James would come in probably for, let's say, Van Dijk for now, and I'd put Van Dijk first up. And then this final transfer is either going to be to bring in Rafinha or to bring in Broja for King. So it will probably largely depend on King's availability for this fixture, because even though he hasn't been fantastic, I still think that King with a double is probably better than maybe Saka in a single. But anyway, let's just say that I want to do King to Broja. That would be for a -8, right? I've got 0 in the bank for that, so I might not quite be able to afford it. I might have to go for Rudiger. I might have to change the plan up slightly. But this is the way the team would look. So I'd have Coutinho and Broja and James coming in for a -8. This sets me up with Saiss, Cody, Coutinho, Jimenez, and Broja. So I've got 5 doublers for game week 28, which I think is pretty good considering the 5 that I've got there. And the single game week, and again, if Reece James gets the double, which is the only reason I bring him in, he'd have a double. So it'd be 6 double game week players. If I then switch to game week 29, it's even better for this week. So if I can I'll bring in the likes of Van Dijk, I'll bring in Damari Gray, probably for, it might not be in for Jimenez, and I'd still have Foden at this stage, so I might want to bring in Foden potentially for a size like that. So, I'd have a full bench of Wolves players, so I might not want to bench all of my Wolves players there. But you can see then, without making any transfers for game week 29, oh, I think my camera's lagging out, isn't it? Let me just switch that off, 2 seconds. My camera does this. I am still here. I know the camera's gone off. My camera lags out on OBS after using it for like 45 minutes. I have to just reset it. I love it. The people in the chat know they're like, overheated camera again, Ross. Thank you, guys. So I'm still here. Hopefully you can still hear my voice. So for game week 29, I'd have Ramsdale, Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, Gray, Saka, and Lacazette. So that is 7 doublers in game week 29. I'd also have James against Newcastle, Foden against Palace, Coutinho against West Ham, and Broja against Watford. So even the players that are single game week, they're fantastic. So you can see why I took this massive -20, right? Because the -20 set me up in a way where I'm currently in a very good position for game week 28. I'm currently in a very good position for game week 29. If we then switch ahead to game week 30 without making any transfers, right? And remember that it does depend on which teams do play in game week 28. But assuming the teams that we know are playing in blank game week 30, I've got Ramsdale, Saiss, Cody, Coutinho, Saka, Jimenez, and Lacazette. So even if the Southampton fixture doesn't get added into game week 30, I've already got 7 players in blank game week 30. Now, if the Southampton fixture does get added in, I've got 8. And then at this stage, I could potentially decide, now's the time I want to bring in Rafinha. So I could potentially, for Damari Gray, bring in Rafinha, like that. Or I could, if I don't want to make that move, or want to make the move on top of that, I could take out Foden or Van Dijk at this stage. Let's have a look at Van Dijk's fixtures. So he's got, obviously, Watford in 31, City in 32, and then I'm probably free hitting in 33, and then I'm wildcarding in 34. So I could even take out Van Dijk at this stage if I wanted to, for another defender of some kind. Again, if Southampton do have the double, it could be that here I decide, you know what, I'm going to go for Walker-Peters in here. Get another player, if Southampton, again, do play in blank game week 30. And then I'd have as many as it would be for Salah like that. I could have a full team of, or 10 players it would be actually, wouldn't it? Because James isn't playing in blank game week 30. So you can see that, hopefully you can see at least, that my planning has gone quite well. And that I have planned ahead for game week 28, game week 29, and game week 30. And my team's in a position, therefore, where my team's well set up for 30. And then if I just... Oh, God, you can see outside my green screen there. The joys of OBS. There you go. Lovely stuff. So if I then switch to game week 31, I know this is a lot of planning ahead, but with the way COVID is at the moment, I'm hoping we can get back to planning this far in advance. Let me just get my team sorted. So I'd probably have Trent in there like that. And I would have Salah in there. Despite the fixture there, it wouldn't really matter for me like that. So, again, the team's not perfect by any means, but at this stage, I would have a free transfer. Oh, sorry, I've gone into 32, haven't I, rather than 31. So this is, I was going to say, I think the team looks much better for 31. So let me get the team set up for the 31. And this is without using any transfers here. You can see the team looks real good, right, for game week 31. So I essentially think I'm in a really, really good position regardless. And this is why I'm just trying to not justify, but explain why I took the -20 and why I did the way I did. So for 31, this is why I also don't think 31 wildcard makes sense for me. Right? I don't think I need to wildcard in 31. Who on earth else would you bring in game week 31? Like, my team looks pretty perfect here. I've got Salah captaincy. I've got Trent against Watford. I've got a really strong bench. I've got Broja against Leeds on the bench. Didn't even see that. I'd probably want to do something like that. And then I might bring in like that. So the team looks even better than once you get it like that. So that's for 31. I could roll a transfer in 31, assuming I didn't have any issues. Then going into 32, I'd have 2 free transfers. So at this stage, I could decide to start bringing out different players. I could now maybe double up on Chelsea defence, right? And then I could potentially at this stage take out Coutinho if I wanted to for someone with slightly better fixtures. So at this stage, I guess it could be really anyone, couldn't it be? Anyone with a good fixture swing in game week 32. But I'm not going to plan any further than that because I like to be free hitting in 33 and wildcarding in 34. So I could basically take a few just cheeky punts in game week 32. And we might have a double game week in 32 as well. So that's the current plan. Hopefully that was useful for you guys to see what I'm currently planning. And sorry for sort of ranting for ages there, but hopefully that was useful for you guys. So we'll probably go for about another sort of 15 minutes or so, guys. But if you are in the chat and you haven't liked yet, please do consider liking. It just massively helps. But all you have to do is just scroll down and hit like, and it's completely free. But it really does help YouTubers. That's why we are so often. We don't get money for likes, if you're wondering. It just pushes the video to other people. So the more people that like it, more people will join the live stream, and more people will see this as a video afterwards. So if you're watching this live, please do remember to like. Also remember to subscribe to the channel as well. So do you want to drop any other questions around sort of Game Week 27, free hit, whatever it may be? Don Chan says FPL Raptor is the best. I appreciate that very much, mate. King Sight says, what is your current rank, Ross? My current rank is 43,718. So before my minus 20, do you know, I'll just show you how the team got on, actually, because I haven't shown this on the video, have I? Like that. Someone says, can you tell me your plans for the rest of the game week? I literally just spent 10 minutes going through. Just skip back 10 minutes in the live stream. If you skip back 10 minutes in the live stream, then you'll find out what my plans are for upcoming game weeks. So if I just skip to... So there you go. You can see my rank there. I'll actually just... let me just go to game week history then. So this is how I've got on in recent weeks, right? So you can see in game week 9, I captained Havertz. And I went from 59k to almost 200k in 1 week when I captained Havertz over Salah. I then bounced straight right back, though. Got up to 78k because I had a pretty good game week 10, as you can see. I then had an even better game week 11. Got down to 34k. But then since then, you can see here, I have just stagnated massively. So 34, 33, 44, 40. So I've basically been between about sort of 25 and about 70, 80k for that entire period from game week 10 to game week 26. So I'm sort of hoping now I can push on. But you can see, look, here it is. For those of you that were wondering if I was joking or if I was just having you on, I took a minus 20, 7 transfers I made, and I only went from 38k to 43k. So you can see it does definitely work sometimes to take massive hits, and I'm pretty happy with the minus 20 that I took because now my team's really well set up for future weeks. All right, so this is the free hit. As you can see, I've not lied about anything. This is the current team that you can see with all of the nice graphics as well. So the only changes that I might make, if we just go to transfers quickly, the only changes that I might make is I might end up doing something like, because I do really think that Kyle Walker-Peters could be a decent shout. So if I do want Walker-Peters, all I'd have to do is Walker-Peters in there. And then I need -2, so I just have to do Williams to Simicast. So I do lose a third bench option, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Like that. So I can afford Walker-Peters as things stand. And the team will look something like that. Other than that, I can't see myself making that many changes. Yes, I could do Sancho and Sterling, so I'll just show you again. Unless there's been any price changes, which I don't think there have. I can do Fernandes in for Sancho and then Foden in for Sterling for the same price. So I know that's why a lot of people are wondering, do you do Foden and Bruno or do you do Sterling and Sancho? That's the way the team would currently look then like that. But I just don't think I want that. So I think I'm pretty sure that I think I'm going to be along the lines of this. And then if I just want to show you how my team got on in game week 26. So it was 145 points. Triple captaincy obviously played. And this is how the team was. So you can see Ramsdale, Saiss, and Cody very disappointing. The Van Dijk transfer went super well. Right, that was something that I was very happy with, bringing in Van Dijk. Bowen was a bit of a letdown. Salah, obviously, I don't think we're talking about this enough. The fact that this man got 84 points is just mind-blowing, right? It's absolutely unbelievable. Saka was a fantastic transfer as well, 11. Right, I'm really happy with the way he performed there. Jimenez, 6-pointer. Lacazette, 10-pointer. It was a 13-pointer when we thought he'd scored, but it was only assist. Obviously, he got the siren goal. And then King just continues to be disappointing every single week. And then actually, I benched De Gea, Cancelo, and Foden. That had potential to go very wrong, but luckily Cancelo and Foden didn't do anything, and De Gea conceded. So I'm actually very happy with the way my team went. Like I said, 145 points, but it was a -20, so it ended up being 125 points net. So yeah, that's the way the team went for game week 26. I'm perfectly happy with it. And yeah, that's the way the team's set up for game week 27 now. Something I thought we could do potentially, I know some people like doing this, is I was just taking a look on the Fantasy Football Scout like premium membership section at where Leeds have been conceding some of their shots from. So I know a lot of people like it when I do this. So you can go onto lots of different things you can see. But you can see their chances created conceded map. this tells me that I think Kane's going to have an absolute field day here. You can see that this area, you can't see my cursor because that's where I've got an OBS, but that area just centrally, just outside the box is where Leeds concede a lot of opportunities and they concede a lot of space as well. They're also conceding a little bit from corners, but you can see they're conceding a lot of opportunities from that central position. So, and also though, they're conceding a lot of opportunities on the left. So you can see the only position they're not really conceding a lot of chances created is actually from the right-hand side. So that's where Kulusevski, Lucas Moura, Bergwijn would be. They're conceding most of their chances from the positions that Son and Kane pick up. And I just think I look at this sort of matchup and this looks to me like a potential position that I think Tottenham could really exploit Leeds in and around the edge of the box centrally into the left. With respect to goal attempts conceded map, that is very, very difficult to tell because there's just been so many. It's very, very central though. So that obviously pays into the fact that Kane will hopefully get a lot of opportunities in there. But there are lots of different things you can do on here. And I really like using this sometimes to work out for sort of captaincy and sort of what players I want to bring in. You can see open play goal attempts conceded as well. So where they conceded most of their goal attempts from open play. Again, a lot of it just pretty central. If you just scroll down as well, you can see goal attempts on target. You can see, sorry, where is it? Chances conceded from the left is 185. It's 183 from the right. So they're actually conceding a fair amount of chances from both sides. But the positions are actually better from the left-hand side. They're in slightly better positions. Chances conceded down the middle is only 115. So most of their chances conceded are from the edges. They do concede quite a lot of errors leading to goals as well. So that's something to consider. And then you can do this for other teams as well. So if we want to take a look at potentially Crystal Palace, which is obviously one of the Burnley fixtures. So we just go to Crystal Palace and do go. And then it will load in. We can do the same there. So goal attempts conceded heat map. That one. So you can see here, interestingly, Crystal Palace conceding a lot of opportunities from corners, which is fantastic. You can see there. So someone's literally just asked me and Tarkovsky instead of Pope, is it risky? I'd actually say that it's not a massive risk at all. And then, would you know what else this would say? You can see they're conceding a lot of chances from that sort of left-hand side crossing position. So if you wanted to go for a Peters from Burnley, this would suggest that Peters might get a few opportunities against Crystal Palace to whip in crosses. So I think Peters could be a decent shout against Crystal Palace. You can see there a lot of chances created, conceded there. And then if we just go to Leicester, which is obviously the other team in the double for Burnley, it's more of the same really, but there are some slight differences here. So if we just go to chances created, conceded heat map, you can see they're obviously conceding a lot less chances, but once again, conceding a lot from corners. So that's something to consider. They're actually conceding quite a lot of chances, again, in that sort of left mid, left back crossing position. You could see potentially it could be that Burnley get a lot of chances to crossing the ball to Weghorst from that left back position. So for those of you that are wanting to go fairly cheap with Peters, I don't mind that. And this also tells me that Leicester and Crystal Palace are conceding a lot of chances from the wide positions. So we might get a cheeky Weghorst cross potentially. And then the final thing I just wanted to look at was Norwich. Because obviously we're looking at, do you want to go for Bednarek, do you want to go for Walker-Peters, Livramento, etc. Who do we want to go for? So let's take a look at Norwich's statistics quickly. And then, I know this is quite stat heavy for those of you that aren't particularly interested in the stats, right? So, if we go for chances created, conceded, heat map here, right? Norwich have conceded a lot of chances. It's the first thing to note when you look at this heat map in comparison to some other teams. Lots and lots and lots from corners. Right, and this is where I'm very keen on Bednarek and Ward-Prowse. You can see lots of from corners, lots as well. If you can, you can't see my cursor. That area in and around the sort of right-hand side of the box, so just outside the box to the right-hand side, and also, interestingly, if you compare this to other teams, they concede a lot of chances created from deep centrally. This game, for me, screams Ward-Prowse. Now, I know you are relying on assists and you're relying on corner goals, and you're relying on free kicks, but when you look at Norwich's chances created, conceded heat map or touch map, it looks good for Ward-Prowse. It really does. Lots of chances conceded from corners, lots of chances created, conceded from deep, and also out to the right as well, which is basically the positions that Ward-Prowse picks up a lot. And so for me, I personally think that Ward-Prowse is going to be a fantastic option. Do you know what? I'm just going to do something quickly. I'll switch back to this. I'm just going to try and get up Ward-Prowse's touch map as well. This is all very like off the fly a little bit. You can sort of get an insight into the way that I make FPL decisions though. And hopefully this is going to be useful for you. So we're going to switch over to Fantasy Football Fix now because I really like their player touch maps. And if we just switch to Southampton as well, 2 seconds. Right, and then on this, I'm actually going to just zoom out a little bit. Right. So let's go back to this. Right, so this is Norwich's chances created conceded touch map. Right, if you then switch to Ward-Prowse's touch map, you've actually got touch maps that map on really nicely to each other. So I'm just going to switch back once more. You can see it again in and around the edge of the box centrally, and then from corners and a little bit wide to the right. And then if you go back to Ward-Prowse, that's exactly where he picks up positions. Right, and this is a little bit of like framing and a bit of narrative bias, I understand that. But for me, when I'm mapping these two onto each other, I'm looking at a potential opportunity for Ward-Prowse to do quite well here. Now, I might be reaching slightly. And listen, Broja's got a fantastic touch map as well. Again, if you're looking to map these on, you could definitely make some justification for the fact that Broja's getting a lot of touches in and out wide and also a lot of touches in the box. Obviously, Broja's touch map looks fantastic. But I've got a feeling about Ward-Prowse is all I will say. And I like the fact that obviously Ward-Prowse is on corners and Norwich concede a lot from corners. So that's something else to consider there. And I might be clutching at straws here. But if you want to know why I'm going for Ward-Prowse, that's why. And also, if you want to know why I've got Son and Kane and why I think Son and Kane are fantastic captaincy options, hopefully that little bit of a discussion around the amount of chances Leeds concede is something to consider as well. All right. Cool. So I'm going to go in a few more minutes. So just any last minute questions, drop them in the chat. Hopefully that little bit of a discussion around that was helpful for those of you that are into your stats. Thoughts on Elanga? Would you start him over Broja? I prefer starting Broja, but I do think Elanga's a good choice. Maybe first sub for Elanga. With 10 playing players, including King, Edouard, Backman, Dallo, and Reguilon, would you free hit? Yeah, I probably would. That doesn't sound very good to me, to be honest. Yeah, I'd probably free hit. Hey, Ross, Bruno and Broja or Sancho and Ward-Prowse? I'm going to be incredibly biased here. I've got Sancho and Ward-Prowse, so I'm going to say Sancho and Ward-Prowse, but I think Bruno and Broja is absolutely fine as well. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those. Will you be posting your final team? I always post my final team over on Twitter. All right, so if you're interested, I'll just get on my Twitter. If you're ever interested in getting any sort of last-minute thoughts from me, I'm always posting my team over on Twitter. Let's switch to web. I don't know what this is going to look like here for my Twitter. There you go. You can sort of see my Twitter there. So this is my Twitter here, all right? So if you want to ever follow me, it's FPL__Raptor. All right, follow me over on Twitter. We're almost at 30,000 followers, which is pretty cool. So go follow me over on Twitter. I'll always post my thoughts last minute as well. And try and get round to replying to as many of you as possible. But go follow me on Twitter. I'll almost always post it before the deadline. Unless anything crops up in between then, I'm pretty sure I'll post it before the deadline and you'll be able to see my final team over there. All right, so do always go follow me over on Twitter. Cool. Does Pep's news that Grealish and Jesus are ready to play at the weekend put you off Sterling and Mahrez? It doesn't put me off Lawrence, but it does make me slightly less eager to go for them. I think I'm still going to maintain it. I still think it makes sense to ease one of them in or to ease both of them in against Peterborough. So I think, personally, I think you've got more chance. I think you've got more chance of seeing them playing the FA Cup. And to be honest, it's got such upside that I think I'll start with them. When I've got Broja first sub as well, if both of them were to miss out, I'll be all right because I've got Broja first sub and I don't think Amati's the worst second sub either. Got a super chat. Thank you very much. Hi, Ross. Convince me to captain Weghorst instead of Bruno this game week. Okay, I'll do my best. Weghorst plays twice. Leicester and Palace are both pretty poor defensively. Watford are significantly better defensively under Roy Hodgson. And Bruno Fernandes probably won't be on penalties because I expect Ronaldo to start. However, I've only done that because you've given me a super chat and you've asked me to convince you. I don't tell people to do anything. If you followed my channel for a while, I never tell people to do anything. I advise what I think makes sense, but I allow you to come to your own decisions because that's just the way that I work. So if you fancy Bruno, go for it. Nana Raptor is currently captaining Bruno. So by all means, give it a go. I just don't think there's going to be that many goals in the Watford game. Unless if we score early, it could be an absolute feast because Watford will have to come out. We aren't great defensively, so it could end up being like 3-4-2, but it would rely on there being an early goal. And we just don't tend to start games very well. Would you upgrade Sancho to Bruno if you had the funds? Probably not, actually. I really fancy Sancho. But the main reason that I have gone for Sancho is I wanted Sterling over Foden. Is there any team news you can share? Not at this early stage, but again, if you follow me over on Twitter, at FPL__Raptor, I'll always retweet any team news that I see. Johan says, what's your overall rank goal this season? I'd like top 10k, to be honest. Let me see how far off of the top 10k I am. Yeah, top 10k would be ideal for me. I am slightly further away than I'd want to be at this stage. So from the top 10k, I'm only 46 points. Considering the fact that I have a wild card, 2 free hits, obviously I'm free in this week, and a bench boost, if I time that wild card correctly, I think I could still achieve a top 10k finish. So I'm still going for top 10k. Someone said, is the fantasy website down? No, mine's all right. Mine's okay. Top 3 or 5 captaincy picks. Weghorst is my favourite. Then Son, Kane, Burnley defender, and then maybe a Manchester United attacker. I just wouldn't go for City just because you don't know who's starting. If you think you know who's starting, go for it. To be honest, Cancelo is a decent shout. I don't know why. I've just got a weird feeling that Everton could score. I know that probably means I shouldn't have Cancelo, but he's so good going forward, it's worth the risk. But I think Weghorst, Son, and Kane are my top 3. If I was going top 5, it would be probably Weghorst, Son, Kane, and then Pope, and then probably one of like Sancho or Bruno, maybe. If you are watching this, if you're one of the 400 people watching this that hasn't dropped a like, please do drop a like on the video. It massively helps support the channel. Also, make sure you subscribe as well. We're on 286 likes. If we could get, obviously, 14 extra people to like the stream, that would be amazing. To hit 300 likes before we finish the stream, I would very much appreciate that. So if you're watching this and you haven't yet liked, please do so. I missed the deadline last week by 5 minutes and it cost me over 60 points. Have you got any tips on how to get over it? I do have a video on how to deal with the negative outcomes associated with FPL and how to have a healthy mind in FPL. If you just search for Psychology 101 FPL Raptor, I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel. Just go over there and I've got some tips there. But yeah, it sucks, to be honest. I'm not going to try and make you feel necessarily better about that. But yeah. Anyway, I could go on one for about 10, 15 minutes, but that's... Go watch the video. If you've got any real issues, you can always DM me on Twitter and I'll try and respond. Top 3 players to transfer in if you're not going to free hit. I think Southampton players are probably the best shout for me. And then maybe Aston Villa players because they've got decent fixtures. They've got a double and they play in blank game week 30. Outside that, maybe Wolves. I'd probably target Wolves, Southampton and Aston Villa as the 3 that I'd be targeting. Any news on the King injury? I haven't heard anything yet, but we've got the press conferences today. I can't remember what time the press conferences are, actually. Let me have a look if I can find out when they are. Just so that I can let you all know. Roy Hodgson's press conference is at 1:30, so he might have already said that then. I haven't seen the press conference. I've obviously been streaming. But Hodgson has a press conference at 1:30, so I think you've got a decent chance of finding out about the King injury. You've also got David Moyes at 1:30, Antonio Conte at 1:30, Frank Lampard at 1:30, Guardiola at 1:30, and yeah, that's it. So you've got quite a few managers at 1:30. And we had Rangnick and Vieira at 12:45 and 1 as well. So we should have had most press conferences. Yeah, press conferences are done, but I haven't seen the updates from any of them. Let me see if I can see any King news. Yeah, I haven't seen any King news yet. Let me see if Ben Dinnery's tweeted anything. Okay, so Ben Dinnery's tweeted, Josh King has been training despite his withdrawal with muscle injury midweek. So he's still training. It looks like it might have been a recurring issue. I would say that he'll probably start, but he might get limited minutes. But yeah, see if we get anything maybe a little bit closer to the deadline, potentially. Got another super chat from Chris. Says 0.3 million in the bank. I have Eric Peters and Bednarek. Can I upgrade? I think that's fine, to be honest. You could go from Eric Peters to Roberts if you wanted to, but I think Peters is fine. And Bednarek's fine as well. I think you could do really well. We just discussed the fact that Crystal Palace and Leicester concede a lot of opportunities down their right-hand side. So I actually think Eric Peters could do fairly well there. Which Southampton fullback do you think is the likeliest to start this week and game week 28? Carl Peters, I'd probably say. Reguilon or Luca Dean? I'd probably go Luca Dean myself. Cool. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. If you are in the stream, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Absolute pleasure, as always. I'll go full screen for this little outro. Absolute pleasure, as always. Thank you so much for being in the chat. It's always such a nice atmosphere in this chat. Always such chilled vibes when we stream. Make sure that you join our Discord server. The link is in the description. Also, consider becoming a member as well. If you become a member, you get personalized feedback on your team from me. You also get entered into our private channel as well. But it's been an absolute pleasure, as always. I absolutely love streaming. I massively appreciate it. And if you're on your free hit, or if you're not, best of luck for Game Week 27. We'll be back for Game Week 28. And for the Game Week 28 content, I'll have my team selection video. I'm going to have a wildcard draft as well. So we'll go through Game Week 28 wildcard. And we'll also be live streaming again before the Game Week 28 deadline. So if you are enjoying all that content, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.